So, yeah, my name is Alex Cooper. I am the managing editor of the Avalanche Journal, which is the official publication of the Canadian Avalanche Association. I'm here today with Everett Clausen, the, recently retired former owner of CIL. Is that correct? Yep.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the history, I guess, a bit about the partnership between CIL and the Canadian Avalanche Association that started probably about 30 years ago in the mid 90s when the avalanche industry was in trouble, a bit of trouble securing fuses for their explosives, and CIL came in, and I don't want to know if they saved the day, but certainly helped out, came through when the industry was in a pinch. So thanks a lot for joining me, Everett. And yeah, maybe we can just start. You can give me a bit of background on, your own history in explosives and CIL's background in explosives.
Surely. Well, CIL is a company that's been around for 150 years. It was always in the, I will call, general explosives business. I joined them after I graduated from university and worked in their ammunition and explosives division. Then at some point, myself and Andre Gagne purchased what I will call the pyrotechnics part of that division. And one of the first things that happened was that in the US, there's a very unfortunate and terrible accident where two of the avalanche practitioners who happened to be girls, young women, made an error in using primed explosives and held on to it too long. One of them was killed, and I think the other was seriously injured. Following that accident, the manufacturers of the explosive, who at that time were Ensign Bickford, paid out a $4 million court challenge and decided they would never again sell explosives to the avalanche business. That made it very difficult, particularly in Canada, where there was so much avalanche work being done, BC and Alberta, in road clearing and wintertime travel, so that the Canadian government, through the explosives division, contacted me to see if we would have any interest in supplying. We did a very in-depth survey of the Canadian operations. We were satisfied that the folks who were using the explosives were in fact doing so in a safe manner. Also that BC had a very good training program. So we decided, yes, we would get involved. We did get involved, and that's what led to years and years and years of very successful cooperation and client-supplier relationships.
Curious, what was CIL like? What were your products or specialties before getting involved in the avalanche industry?
Before that, we were primarily involved in pyrotechnic flares. That would be marine flares, the flares that you see carried on boats in case there's an emergency. These would be parachute flares, handheld flares, orange floating smoke, things of that nature. We also did do quite a bit of what I will call quarry and supplying general contractors such as beaver dam people who were using explosives to open up rivers, and we supplied them with the detonating cord and some nitroglycerin type explosives.
Okay. So what did you know about the avalanche industry when you were approached to maybe start supplying them?
Very little at that time. It was steep learning curve for us as we as we looked into how well people were trained, the incidents that had been recorded, talking to different potential users, and really finding out that certainly in Canada, for a start, the people here were well trained and well versed in the use of those explosives. So it was a fairly easy decision for us to agree to develop the products needed and be the sole supplier.
Yeah. So what did you have to do as a company to begin supplying the avalanche, like all the avalanche control explosives and fuses?
Well, what we did do initially is to deepen our relationship with a large explosives company in the U.S., that's Austin Powder, who had plants in central U.S., had plants in South America, in Europe, and we developed with them the necessary explosives to be used in the general avalanche use. At the same time, we, I would say, deepened our relationship with a company called Omni out of Arkansas, who were assembling fuses. And what we did then was to search out the best supply of fuses and the best supply of blasting caps that we could find. And they came out of Bolivia. And Omni set up very, I would say, successful assembly plant in Crawfordsville, Arkansas, and they supplied us with the product we called Mildets. Called it Mildets because the fuse actually was a military type fuse, a green fuse, high quality, that passed all the military specifications that were set out, and has proven to be highly successful and a very reliable product.
Okay. And so you basically had to take this, put these together, and then create the explosives that they would use, that they would throw at helicopters or, chuck, while on a ski patrol control
That's
route,
right.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So what were some of the major challenges you faced in those early years, in trying to supply to the industry?
Well, I wouldn't call it a challenge, but one of the things we had to do was to make sure that all of our products have been tested, authorized by the Canadian government. Then when we looked at people in the U.S. wanting to do it, we had to do the same thing down there, was to go to the Department of Transport, make sure that it had a EX number, make sure that it had been all tested. Those things are they're not difficult, but they keep you busy, if I could say so, as you get them approved. So once that was all approved, outside of that, the customers really came to us. We had very little selling to do.
Yeah. Okay. I'm wondering, yeah, how long did you have to get all this going? Like I understand it must have been a fairly quick transition
Yes,
because
it
of
was.
all the uncertainty. So
Yes, it was quick. I would say probably no more than a couple of months,
wow.
which is really fast for developing that kind of business.
Yeah, I imagine it seems like something like that should take a few years normally, but I guess
Yes.
was there pressure or support from the government to get this going because of the importance of doing this
Oh
work?
yeah.
Yeah.
No question. I mean, they were the ones that were really pushing it because you can imagine, uh, winter comes and there's no way to clear the roads in BC and Alberta. That was a real worry for them. So they worked very hard with us to get everything done properly and quickly.
Yeah. What was your relationship like with or your involvement with the CAA at this time?
Um, I guess at that time we got involved because the people who had helped us a lot from the practitioner's point of view were members of the CAA. So they kind of just, um, I might say, brought us in. And we very quickly, you know, developed that relationship at that time with Claire Islington and other folks and became a big part of the CAA. And in fact, to the point where we supported them a lot.
Mhm.
And we also supported training by virtue of setting up um, a plan whereby we would pay people 3% of our sales in order for them to be able to do training.
Yeah. And how did that come about, deciding to do
Well,
that?
it came, and well, um, I mean, I have to say it was part of a marketing plan as well.
Yeah.
That if people are going to get 3% of their sales back in terms of a dollar value, that interests them. And it also interested us because it meant that they agreed to take that 3% and use it to train all of their practitioners.
Mhm.
So it was sort of a win-win, we felt, situation.
Yeah, that they would use that and teach people how to use these explosives and deploy them safely. And yeah,
Yes, exactly.
okay. When did you start attending the spring conferences?
Oh, very shortly after we got into the business. I mean, by 90s,
Yeah.
very early 90s. Yes.
Hmm.
It was interesting too because it gave us an opportunity to expose people in the CAA to, the operational side of the explosives part. Enjoyed that very much. That was a lot of those were a lot of interesting years where we were able to do that and to allowed to talk for an hour or so at a time to
Yeah.
people at CAA.
Nice. So what were some big, talking about your involvement starting about 30 years ago in the kind of mid 90s, mid to late 90s, what are some of the big changes you've seen in, avalanche control explosives over these 3 decades? And, I'm thinking I found one article in our archives, where you helped with the development of or the installation of the first avalanche guard system near Revelstoke, and I'm thinking of that, but I'm sure there's a lot more. So I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about some of those developments over the years.
Yeah, well, I think the use of remote ignition, avalanche ignition systems was a very important development, because before that, when we first started, mainly initiation was by, as you pointed out earlier, just tossing 3-inch by 16-inch nitroglycerin sticks into the valley.
Mhm.
There were some remote ignitions. These were mainly done by artillery guns,
Yeah.
105 howitzers and such. But then very important developments came with these specialized, as you say, avalanche guard with the Nitro Express, with systems that could be moved, aimed, and deliver explosives from kilometers away. And to me, that certainly was the most important development that I had seen in the years I'd been there.
Yeah. And what was like CIL's role in developing those?
Well, we developed the gun um, along with training people, and that was a good part of the job that Braden Schmidt um, did for us for a number of years. He's now the president of course, CIL Austin Explosives,
Mhm.
but he did all that developing for us, um, in the last 8 or 9 years, and we were deeply involved in that gun development. A lot of interesting things, which I think people still find very interesting
Yeah.
to
So
use.
just to clarify, when you say that gun, what gun are you referring to? I'm not I'm not an avalanche control guy myself, so I don't know all the ins
Oh,
and
well,
outs, but maybe you could just elaborate there.
it's called the Nitro Express, and it's got a long barrel, 15, 18 feet, and it projects um, 4 pound booster charge using using nitrogen gas. So it propels it by that gas being confined and driving the booster out and up to 4 kilometers.
Yeah.
That's an interesting development, and it means that you can aim and direct. And if you look at our website, which you may do after,
Mhm.
you'll see how that works.
Okay.
There's a video there that shows you.
Okay, great. So you've been, kind of a CIL, as we talked about, mentioned the spring conference, but you've been a fixture there for a long time. And wondering, do you have how your relationship with the avalanche industry compares to other sectors you're involved with, like, the marine sector and other ones?
No, definitely, I would say the um, the avalanche business, and in the avalanche business, CIL and myself personally have a closeness that I didn't have with the other the parts of our business, such as we sell highway flares also to all of the police forces, and it's a good business, and we work with them, but certainly not with the kind of closeness that we have with the avalanche business.
Okay.
And I know that Braden is carrying that on.
Yeah, no, I always get a chance to chat with Braden. I don't think I've ever chatted with you at the spring conference, but I've chatted with Braden a few times. So that's always good to see him there. Yeah.
Yes, well, hopefully we'll see you this time. I plan to come out to this CAA conference.
Your last one, you think, or
Yeah, probably, but who knows?
what do you think you'll miss about this industry and this work?
Well, it's it's an interesting business, and the people who are in it are, are not quite. I'm not going to say quite strange, but they're quite different. I mean, there's a wide range of people, all the practitioners you meet. Uh, you know, there's a broad range of personalities, and that's something I always enjoyed because you never knew quite what to expect, and that's always nice when you're running a business.
Yeah, for sure. Great. That's all the questions I prepared, but I'm wondering if there's anything else you'd like to say or any memories, stories you have from your 30 plus years with the avalanche industry.
Um, I hadn't given that a lot of thought. I've been away quite a bit, and I've just returned. But I tell you what I would do while you're preparing your presentation. What I'll do is I'll sit down and I'll send you a few anecdotes.
Okay.
I promise to do that after we get off the phone.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Everett. I
Oh,
appreciate your
you're so
time.
welcome. Very good talking to you, Alex.
Yeah, and the CAA, we appreciate the support over the last 30 years, and yeah, congratulations on your retirement. Well deserved.
Thanks so much. I've enjoyed every minute.
All
Not
right.
retirement, but of the days working.
There you
Good.
go.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.